Good morning and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Mythic Plus. Today we are actually going to do something a little bit differently. I thought it would be cool to do a series where I just go through and kind of explain why I do the routes that I do, especially when I'm pugging keys in Mythic Plus. So this is using MDT. If you don't have MDT, I don't like to use a whole lot of add-ons just in this game in general. I think it really clutters up your UI. It's really confusing for new people, that sort of thing. And I just hate the concept that people just have to download a bunch of things before they can actually just play the game. I have timed to Darkflame Cleft like 15, almost two-chested it, so this route does work. So I just figured we would start at the beginning, go through, and just think about what we are doing, just so that when you go into pugs, you can maybe think about what to pull with each other, what not to pull. This dungeon doesn't have a lot of variability, but just some things to think about. So on this first pull, we'll start over here on the left-hand side, and we're going to do this big pull. We're going to get absolutely everything. We're going to get all the non-elites. You know, grab this overseer right here, grab these two wicker lighters, the moles, and the mole herds. And me personally, I like to drag them back around this initial corner right here. So the reason I do that is because if you tank them out here or try and get them in this corner, it feels like these wicker lighters tend to move, or if there's someone not on the same page, they're just going to keep casting at people, and it's really, really hard to get all of these things grouped up. If you are like a bear, you can just moonfire this, and run back around. Everything will gather up in this corner, and the timing works out to where the overseer actually will use his first like pummel or knockback or whatever you want to call it. He will use that before the wicker lighters and the mole herds actually get to the pull. So you don't really have to worry about stuff getting knocked back more than once. Usually you'll be lusting on this pull as well. So usually the overseer is actually going to go down before anything else happens. So if you're a druid, you can just Ursels. Usually people are running with a balanced druid, so you can just Ursels. You really only have to deal with one of those knockbacks, and it makes the pull much, much cleaner in my experience. Just get kicks on the royal wicker lighters. Really nothing too crazy about this pull. It should go down very, very quickly with lust. The next one's really, really easy, so moving right along. So once we clear out this area, we'll move forward, and this next pull is something that I like to do. I don't think a lot of people do this necessarily. I think a lot of people like to get the overseer and to just like hug left or hug right or something like that, and they get a lot of these other mobs that you don't really need to get. There's these two pillars right here. You'd be able to see a little bit better if you were in the actual dungeon, but for the sake of this video, we're not going to do that. So I like to tank these overseers right between these two pillars. The reason I like to do that is because the pillars can be used to line of sight the AoE, and then the knockbacks don't really do anything. You don't really need to worry about the knockbacks, because if you tank them here, even if they knock back all these non-elites as far as they possibly can, they actually still won't pull anything from the next pull. And you've already cleared the initial part, so these non-elites might get knocked away. It doesn't matter. You can cleave them. It's not a big deal. Just line of sight these overseers, get out of the pummels. They can't knock each other back, so this pull, unbelievably easy. So if you haven't been doing that, it's free count. Not a whole lot to go through. The next pull, I like to grab the overseer, grab the pack mole, basically everything on this left-hand side here, and just run around this quick corner right here. The reason that we do that is, again, to make sure that the mole herds, they can't really be kicked or moved very efficiently unless you have a Death Knight. There's a mole herd here and a wicker lighter here. We just want to make sure that everything gets stacked as well as we possibly can. So we're going to run around this corner, make sure that you have like a macro or just say in chat to like follow you or something like that. You'll go around the corner, you'll get everything stacked up. And again, the timing is going to work out where these overseers are going to use their smash before everything is gathered. So you really don't have to worry about too many of those. And if they do knock things back, you can usually just take a couple steps back, knock them into this corner. And again, there's nothing else that you can really knock them into in this area. The weird thing about MDT is that these mobs are all at the end, so these won't actually be here. But yeah, there's really no way that you can accidentally pull mobs if you just pull around this corner. Very, very easy. So first boss, easy peasy. Don't really need to explain the first boss or anything like that. We'll just kill that boss, and we'll keep on going. This is where the route gets pretty straightforward. I think everyone does pretty similar stuff here, but in pugs, I think this is the safest way to do this. So you grab this pack in the corner here, grab it with this patrolling wandering candle, and then grab this pack in the center. The reason you do this is just because these blazing fiends aren't hard, like they're never going to kill your group. If they get a cast off, it honestly doesn't really matter. Kick them as much as you can. Even in pug groups, if people are really, really bad about kicking and using CC and that sort of thing, it's hardly ever going to be enough damage to wipe your group. So I like doing these together. I don't like to do more than like, 2 of these wandering candles together. I think that's when you can get in a lot of danger. So just kick these blazing fiends when it's convenient, and these wandering candles will just do some big burst of damage, even on high keys. Very, very livable. Not a huge deal. And then these task workers, we're doing as many of them as we possibly can in this room, just because they are absolutely useless. They just use bonk, don't get hit by the very slow cast circle in melee. Very, very simple. Similar thing with this pull. There's just 3 task workers, no kicks, really nothing to do aside from not get stunned in melee, and then just heal through these wandering candles, which I believe have a forced stagger on them now, so you cannot get both of those AoE eruptions at the exact same time, so you won't ever get just like 1-2 comboed and just get one shot. So this area, very, very easy, lots of good count here. And we go from like 32% to 56% with just these 2 pulls. So very, very nice. This pull doesn't really need any explanation. It's much, much easier with a Vengeance Demon Hunter, with Beam, with like a DK, with like Mass Grip or something like that. Just any kind of AoE CC that you can do. As a general rule, a lot of the good teams like to use all their kicks first and then use all their stops afterwards. So if you haven't been doing that, if you just like open up with Cap Totem or something like that, maybe think about starting to like kick first, get your kick on cooldown, and just to make sure that if you need more stops, then you have those as well. So very easy 7th pull. We'll do the second boss here and go right into this room. Nothing crazy about this room either. Just kill all these non-elites. They're super efficient. They don't really do a whole lot. I've seen people like line of sight this or something like that, but you really don't need to. It'll go down pretty quick. I like to skip this next pull. There's a couple ways to do it. There's like a rock over here that you can use and just jump kind of right here. You can angle the jump to where you can land on this and then just run up. You can also skip it with a monk, priest, or like a rogue or something like that. Invis potions, I believe, work. So there's a lot of different ways to skip this pull. Just make sure that you are, when you're making a group, especially if you're listing your key, just make sure you're getting one of those classes, someone that can help you skip if you're not going to do it. But I think you can do it just raw without any sort of help as well. So skip that pull. This pull's a waste of time. It's super annoying. So if you're able to skip it, go ahead and skip it. None of these also require lust as well. So after this first pull, there's really nothing that you need to lust on until the Candle King. On higher keys especially, he will rot down your team like crazy. It's a ton of healing. It's a lot of room for error as well. So if you've been lusting like Blaziken or something like that, that fight is joke easy. Like as long as you're doing it correctly the same time, like the same thing over and over and over again, you really don't need to be scared about it. Save lust for Candle King. If you do the skip correctly, it should only be like a minute or so down the line or something like that. So it's fine to sit on lust for the more dangerous boss. After you kill Candle King, we're just going to go into this little hallway here. If you're a tank, I think I've actually done this strategy in a video that I've posted, but what you'll do as a tank, ideally, is just go through, tag everything, pick up a candle, but don't dunk it in the minecart. If you don't dunk it in the minecart, you can still see everything. The candle will last for about 30 seconds on you. So you want to just take the candle, go ahead, and try and do this in like 2 pulls. Or, if you're an absolute Giga Chad tank, you could do this all in 1 pull. But just make sure that you're not touching the cart. Try and keep the cart moving as you're gathering things up, and then return to the cart before that 30 seconds are up. Kill the mobs that you have gathered, and keep on going. It helps a ton if you can do this in like 2 pulls, or even 3 pulls, because I've seen a lot of lower level tanks do this in like 5 pulls. The cart stops, it goes, it stops, it goes, it stops, it goes, and that will make it just takes a lot of time off of your total time. This is a very forgiving key though, so don't need to worry about that too much. But yeah, we will do this little gauntlet. We'll throw the dynamite over onto the boss here, and then we'll just go into this last pull of the run. We'll get 4 of these corridor creepers, a bunch of the non-elites. Just make sure that you kill them, and then move the corridor creepers away from the dead bodies, and that is a very, very safe pull. The only person that should be in danger is the tank. Very, very simple. You go into the last boss here, and that's the keep. So, yeah, I don't know. I might try and get a little bit more in detail with future videos like this, but let me know if this was helpful for you. Leave a like on the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.